Welcome to the Beau Show. I want to talk today about a hot topic that is societal and will affect all of us in one way or another. It mainly affects children and their parents, but even if you don't have kids, the tactics being used behind this phenomenon are being employed as a form of psychological normalization. The phenomenon that I'm talking about is called grooming, which is not what a man does to his beard or what you do to your poodle. Grooming is a way that adults psychologically create emotional bonds with children and minors to lower their inhibitions, many times for particular sexual exploitation. Child grooming is also regularly used to lure minors into child trafficking, child prostitution, cyber sex trafficking, or the production of child pornography. In the documentary Leaving Neverland, James Safechuck and Wade Robson allege that Michael Jackson groomed them by having them sleep in his bed, or stay in his hotel room, or in some cases, watch porn or do other things to loosen their inhibitions. Now, of course, those are all allegations, but what they are describing is exactly what grooming is. And the reason that I want to talk today about grooming is that it is happening right now, but pursuant to a far more culture-wide strategy than just an individual level. You may have heard this term lately with respect to Florida's recently passed Parental Rights in Education bill, which is designed to keep sexual discussions outside of the K-3 classroom. However, those in the gay community called it the Don't Say Gay bill, a term clearly meant to stigmatize it, even though the bill never even mentions the word at all. Christina Pushaw, Governor Ron DeSantis' press secretary, tweeted, "The bill that liberals inaccurately call Don't Say Gay would be more accurately described as an anti-grooming bill. This bill prohibits discussions of sexual and gender identity, which would be considered grooming because it already programs a child towards the normalcy of non-heterosexual relationships before a child has even developed that part of their brain. Normalizing things like being pansexual or polyamorous or whatever the latest thing is, it creates a window of acceptance in a child's mind that may create confusion and questions. In fact, the Q in LGBTQIA stands for queer or questioning. The fact that one of the letters of the acronym refers to a person questioning their sexuality and identity is enough of an adult discussion to prohibit it from the K-3 classroom. And the fact that opponents of the bill dubbed it the Don't Say Gay bill is a form of grooming as well. Not necessarily for a child, but for adults who don't know much already about the bill. In calling the bill what it is not, it falsely slanders it and grooms people to think that the bill is bigoted. So now you see why grooming is far more sly than what you might think. Joe Rogan recently talked about this subject. Take a listen.
Not have people groom your fucking kids. That's what's more important than you getting uncomfortable with this word because it's used by people on the right. Like I saw someone as an argument, someone who I think is an intelligent person, say that there should be a block against using the word groomer.
Unbelievable.
No, there should be no groomers. How about that? And this is what they wrote. They said, not all teachers are groomers, but a lot of groomers are teachers.
There you go.
And that's real.
Yeah.
That's a real fucking problem. I mean, constantly teachers are getting arrested for exposing themselves to children, for masturbating in front of children, for sending nude pictures in front of children. Every couple days there's a new one that pops up in the news. And how many of those people haven't been caught yet? And how many of those people are out there? And how many of those people are doing it under the guise of I'm an LGBTQ educator? And
I'm keeping a tally of the amount of hate mail that you're going to be getting.
Well, good luck. I don't read it. There's people that are good people in all walks of life. Trans people, gay people, straight people, bisexual, whatever the fuck you are. There's good people in all walks of life. There's also pieces of shit that will use those labels in order to get closer to groups of people and indoctrinate them. And indoctrinate them for their own sexual pleasure. And that's real.
Rogan makes a lot of valid points. The word groomer itself has become associated with leftist activists. And of course, the left embraces the gay community, so now they try to act as one unit on this. Teachers have a very big responsibility. And when those teachers place their own identities and sexual preferences out there in an in-your-face way, they are now indoctrinating kids. My mom was a public school teacher for 38 years. How she taught her class and how she taught me did not always overlap. Parenting and teaching are different. And if you have a teacher who is, for instance, also a football coach or an award-winning author, perhaps that might influence a student to become just like them. But your professional aura and your bedroom aura are not the same. Now, critics of Joe Rogan will say that by not talking about gay issues or gender issues will force people back into the closet, as if a gay teacher who has a photo with his or her same-sex partner will be prohibited from answering a question about that from a student. Online, I listened to a guy named Mike Figueredo of the Humanist Report try to criticize Joe Rogan. But unfortunately, he used examples of things that happen in public, like two people kissing, as the same as what happens in the classroom, where that would not happen. He also posits that the right indoctrinates kids by forcing religion down their throats. Well, not true again. Unless it's in a private school, teachers cannot force a prayer or religion on students. Figueredo says that the forcing of religion made him miserable. Well, okay, so he doesn't like the religious right's so-called indoctrination, which it is not, but he's perfectly happy with the radical left's version. But if indoctrination made him miserable, why would he want any indoctrination? That's where parenting is different from teaching. Listen to how Figueredo tries unsuccessfully to frame it.
You're claiming that the people against the Don't Say Gay bill, or at least implying that they want to groom children sexually. And that's why they're against the Don't Say Gay bill, because it stops them from grooming children. But that's not the case. This bill, now law, it creates a solution for a problem that does not exist. The goal is to put teachers back into the closet if they're LGBTQ. Because if they do teach these children that, yeah, I have a same-sex partner, yeah, I'm non-binary, yeah, I'm transgender, then that kid might think, oh, well, I guess that's not bad because I have a teacher who's lovely, who's non-binary. And they don't want that. They don't want society to accept gay people, non-binary people. So they're the ones doing the indoctrination because they don't want people to accept individuals who are different. That's what this is about. It stems from homophobia and transphobia. It's deeply anti-LGBTQ+, but Joe Rogan is deluded enough to think that Republicans actually care about children. Is that so?
Now, the fallacy in his argument is that he claims that gay teachers are not sexual predators, they just want to live their lives. But he doesn't understand that part of the LGBTQ agenda is not merely to just have the freedom to love who you want to love, but to force others to accept that love and embrace it. Even if some of the agenda includes other sexual dynamics, from, let's say, enormous age gaps, to multiple partners, to changing one's reproductive organs and entire physical appearance. If we know that there is such a distressing mental condition as gender dysphoria, why would you want to even bring that into a child's developing brain? For comparison, hypothetically, if a 70-year-old straight male teacher had a 20-year-old wife and proudly displayed photos all over his desk, and a student asked that teacher about that, is it fair for that teacher to tell his students how normal and loving a 50-year age gap is, and how his young female students should consider choosing a spouse with a similar age difference? Wouldn't you say that's too far? Why should his personal romantic ideals be introduced to his students in any capacity? In his view, he's just living his life and expressing himself freely. But a student does not need to be privy to his personal sexual choices or identity. Groomers find ways to normalize their behavior by taking the stigmas away. And because society has not fully embraced gay culture, they figure that introducing these ideas to kids is just a way of promoting acceptance. But teaching respect is different from teaching sexual normalcy and exploration. Grooming does not always have to be to get a minor to have sex with a person. Grooming can be the most benign way of watering down a personal choice or a lifestyle to make it seem as normal as any other choice or lifestyle. The Florida bill does not force any teacher to not be themselves. It takes sexual content, which is inherently linked to a person's romantic choices, out of the classroom discussion.